this is what happens in the industry. This is exactly why only 13% succeed in this business. There's a lack of a learning acumen from a lot of people in general, especially those that seem to come into real estate with basically in their own 1099 business. So you got, the last two people, and it's not even session four yet, and this is typical. You got you and Devin. Now, I'm not saying the other people, things happen, people get sick and can't make it. But statistically, it will be like that. They'll fall off, and these some of those aren't, they're not going to ever show up or succeed. So first of all, kudos to for you to, continuing to show up, shows that you're a learner. This is free, and you're getting 15 years of knowledge from William, from Bill, who sold, over thousand homes or more, and then obviously me from a business coach and entrepreneur background. So something just to consider. Say, all right, that's why the two of you, I'd bet my I'd bet my bank account that you're going to succeed, just
Thank
because of how
you.
you've shown up here.
This means the world. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So let's get started. So first off, today's session, we'll go over the kind of the homework and assignment, but today's session is about structuring the business. And we're not going to go into every detail of structure, but a few things that are key to having success, and the strategies around that. So, we'll break down sort of the best strategies, some of those structures, and really make sales not feel like it's a heavy lift, but more organized and more systematic. Bill, you're controlling the slides.
Sorry, we just had a little technical difficulties. There we go. Oh, too fast. For some reason, my computer is a little slow today.
So real quick, last week we asked you to kind of think about what it would be like to become the go-to person, the mayor of your neighborhood. How would you strategize and start working in that fashion? Anyone want to share, kind of your thoughts on that? Did anyone think about it? And then two, did you write down anything that you'd like to share? It doesn't have to be your whole plan, but a few items.
I do have, but I feel my weakness since I don't own a house, we are renting, so I don't know if that will affect my image in the neighborhood. They would see like, oh, if she's successful enough, she at least should be, you know, have, own real estate, how she will help us own real estate when she doesn't have any yet. So this is my fear. That's why I'm trying to like, go around, like not my neighborhood, like the area right next to me or around, that's what this is my target for the time being till I own a real estate. And then I don't know if that's right or wrong what I'm thinking, but
Saba, I say this is you're kind of psyching yourself out, and most people do that, and that's okay. You ever drive on the New Jersey Turnpike?
yeah, I do.
You ever see that guy who has the billboards guaranteed sold?
I don't recall. Yeah.
No, you might see it now. They tell you this guy. His name's Rob Dukansky. He's the number one agent in New Jersey. He has about 500 billboards throughout New Jersey, guaranteed to sell your house. You know how much real estate he owns?
No, I don't.
Zero. He rents. He doesn't even own his own house. The guy sold over 10,000 homes. Doesn't even
Wow.
own his own house.
Well,
So
his company.
no, yeah, well, his team.
Yeah.
So yeah, just to give you an idea. So we have this little person who sits on a shoulder that tells us, we shouldn't do this or we shouldn't do that, we shouldn't do this. And I think it's really just squashing that person and just saying, you know what, I'm going to put myself out there, because what's the worst that's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
You can't think about how they're going to think about you, because you can't control that, right? You can't control how other people think. You put yourself out there, and you're going to see that, like, I know with social media, people putting themselves out on videos, It's like, well, I don't want to do it. I look stupid. I look this, I look that. And all I say is, I know what happens when you don't do it, right? I don't know what happens when you do it, but I know what happens when you don't do it,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, that's a great, first of all, thanks for sharing that. It is a sort of an assumption we make or a limiting belief or the kind of, I call it the gremlin on our shoulder, just telling us, it's like imposter syndrome. How can I work my neighborhood when I'm not even, I don't even own a home? The reality is, the reality is no one cares until, I don't think anyone's gonna say anything. And even if, and number three is you could say something. Say, listen, I rent because right now I'm in a great position where renting makes sense for me. There's ways to overcome that and kind of say, you know what, I'm proud to be renting because there's a purpose behind my renting. But the reality is you're probably not going to have to even say that. So,
no one's ever going
you
to
know,
ask that. Well, do you own your home? I mean, I've never been asked that question.
I've never asked any. I've worked with agents prior to coming here, selling and buying homes. I've never asked them where they live. I never asked them. I don't even know if I asked them. I usually know where they may live, like in what town, but I
Yeah.
never asked them if they own their home ever.
Okay.
I never even
Sounds
thought of
good.
it until you just brought it up.
Okay. Good. That give me peace of mind there.
All right, so is there anything that you or Devin want to share that you thought about if you were, whether it's your direct neighborhood or the surrounding area, that you would want to strategize? Or is this an area where if you were with us or working with us is an area that you would want more help on?
More help would be nice. Like you guys kind of know my background, where I'm not an agent yet, and a way for me to kind of just get out there to either express my future in real estate to my neighbors or people on my block is either by walking up to doors, knocking, doing it in person, or either printing out a couple hundred pieces of paper with information about me, my future, and my number, and maybe a online like Instagram or Facebook, TikTok, stuff like that, where they can see what I do online.
Sure. Okay. Anything for you, Saba? You think this is an area that is maybe not your strength and you would want more support?
Um, I'm wondering like if would it be beside like just mailing, would I be using email too? Would that be okay?
Yeah. So I'll tell you what one of our agents did here with the help of me and Bill, and it was a great opportunity. So we created door hangers. Now I'm gonna make it quick. I'm gonna make it quick. The reality is this: if you circle prospect your area, right, and you do door hangers or mailings. Most agents put out there that they sold a house in the community for 700,000 and I could sell homes and I'm a top agent. And it's all about them. It's all
Yeah,
about what they did.
yeah,
We put out a door hanger that says the reality is out of 200 homes in your neighborhood or 700 homes in your neighborhood, 95, maybe 98% are not even thinking of selling or buying. So why would you want to put a door hanger out that says, are you looking to sell? We sell homes and blah, blah, blah. So we did the opposite. We put a door hanger out that said opposed to selling. And it said, I get it. Interest rates are still high, not as much on the market. Home prices are still high. We solve for that because now you're speaking, you're giving them a message that they're thinking, and they're saying, "Wow, yes, that is me."
yeah,
If they're interested in selling or buying, they're going to call you anyway, so you don't have to ask, "Are you selling or
yeah,
buying?" And then what he did was through the resources and systems that Bill has here, you can outline and download the phone numbers of a lot of those people that are in that neighborhood. You're not going to get everyone's phone number, but you'll get, I think we got like 40%.
Yeah.
And then you're calling those same people. But you're not doing this once in your lifetime with these people. You're doing it in a rhythm, in a systematic way. So the next door hanger might be about, leveraging a holiday or something. These are things I can tell you right now, you're not going to get the creativity from other brokers. Look at every door hanger you ever saw, mailer you ever saw. No one's doing what I just told you. And
Yeah.
that's very important in sales. You want to do what the other agents aren't doing, so you stand out and you're more memorable. There's nothing memorable about someone sending me a mailing or door hanger that they sold a home in my house for 800,000. Who cares? It doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't even mean it's meaningless.
Yeah.
So at best, they'll capture 1%. You're capturing the 1% and also getting the attention of the other 99, one way or the other.
Yeah.
So that's an area we could definitely help you guys out with. Obviously, if you come on board here or you take this knowledge to the broker you're with now. All right, let's carry on. I'll let Bill kind of start with this slide.
Right. Build a business, not a hobby. Most agents are hobbyists, right? They want to get into real estate because they make their own hours. They kind of do their own schedule and they kind of do what they want when they want, be your own boss. I would say this, who's your boss when you're in real estate?
Is you
Yeah,
the client too?
the client's your boss, right? When your phone rings and you don't answer it, you're fired, right? If a client
Yeah.
wants to see a house and you can't do it, you're fired, right? Because remember, it's a very competitive industry. So treat your business like a business. And what does that mean? Well, it's time blocking, it's setting up a schedule, it's being purposeful with your day, all these things that we're going to talk about. So the rule 80-20 rule is 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts, right? We know our agents that the 20% that they really have to focus on is lead gen, lead follow-up. It's prospecting. The other things, the client calls, the attorney calls, the emails, searching on the MLS, writing offers, all those things are important, but that's the 80% that's naturally going to come. You don't have to focus on that. That part of the day is just going to come to you. But if you don't prospect, if you don't focus on that 20%, you might never get to the 80%. So, out of the 8 reasons why 8 top agents succeed, it's prospecting, it's setting goals, right? I talk to a lot of agents who are very successful. I'm like, what's your goal for next year? Like, I really haven't thought about it. And I'm like, wow. I mean, imagine if you actually set a goal. Imagine if you actually have purpose in your day. Organized plan, which is important. When do you think is a good time to do your plan? What day of the week?
I mean, I'm always thinking of a plan. I'm writing notes, and usually, very early in the morning, I can prepare everything, but I never sent mail yet. I'm trying to test myself, first try not to spend much till I start, like balance.
Yeah, red light, green
And
light.
yeah,
No, come on.
so yeah, actually all the time. And I'm reading a book now, like listening to podcasts and training, try just to get myself, ready and comfortable. Like
No,
but I never talked to someone, I never like prospect on the call yet. I don't know, like I got the contact, I decide where I want to do, what the area is, and I got the contact and everything, but I'm just getting myself ready to make the calls, like getting everything ready, so I don't, like risk it, lose clients because I'm not ready yet.
Well, I would say this, if these are people who know you, like you, trust you, you're not going to risk losing them, right? But just like anything, you have to have that confidence, and that confidence comes with repetition. And, so when you're doing it often, script practice and role play, right? So don't practice on paychecks is kind of like what we say. So find a friend, find someone in your office and just say, look, I want to script practice every day for 15 minutes. And it's very simple. There's Facebook groups out there that have people who do the same thing. So there's so much out there. Just find somebody and just, hey, I need a script practice partner.
Yeah, so Saba, these 8 um uh reasons why top agents are succeeding, this isn't I wouldn't say this is the fun part yet, right? The fun part for some is what we talked about, right? Going, meeting with someone at their home, interacting, right? But
Yeah.
prospecting, setting goals, being organized, having a purpose, like what's your purpose for what you do, not only overall, but each activity has its purpose. You don't want to have activities on a daily basis that don't serve your purpose, right? It makes no sense. So you got to be very diligent on, all right, is this what I'm about to do? Does it add more prospects? Does it give me more chance for revenue? It's got to be all towards your business. Otherwise, set it aside.
Yeah.
Structure, we'll talk about that. That's about your calendar, being organized, having an entrepreneurial mindset. You don't have to have owned a business before, but you have to at least be aware that you are now an entrepreneur. And you have no choice. Now, you can ignore it and just work by default, but you'd be selling yourself short. The other thing is consistency. If you don't stay consistent with your calendar, with structure, with everything that's on this page, with prospecting, you're going to be like this every day, every week, every quarter, every year. It's going to wear on you, and you're going to leave the industry because you're going to have you'll have a decent year, then a terrible year. You'll have not such a good year, then a terrible year. You don't want that roller coaster. You want to even it out a little bit. And then the last thing is tracking your numbers. I can tell you right now, I didn't use the word KPIs on this slide. KPIs are key performance indicators, because 90% of people in general and sales agents don't even know what a KPI is. These are your stats. You don't have to track 100 different stats, but there's basic ones which we'll go over shortly that you do want to track, and we'll explain why. So out of these, for you, for the people on the call, what do you think is the most important?
I cannot consent. I cannot say it. Number
Consistency.
7. Yeah,
That's okay.
consent. I cannot say it. Sorry.
Consistency. All right, so consistency, absolutely. I wouldn't say there's any wrong answer. Consistency absolutely is important. Any others?
Entrepreneurial minded for me.
Okay, good. So we're not going to spend, because it's 30 minutes, on each one of these. Obviously, we talked about prospecting before. We're going to spend more on structure today. And the reason why structure is because planning your day, if you don't have a planned day, a structured day, an organized day, you end up working by default. And what does that mean? You wake up and you just, I'll figure it out. You won't succeed. You'll be figuring it out every day, all day, every day. So instead, you can plan your perfect day. So success is routine with rituals that develop and become exciting. So what's that mean? This business has monotony. It's the daily same thing every day. Now, obviously, when you meet with a homeowner, it's different, right? Every homeowner is different. Every house is different. So to me, that's the fun part, right? But to get that homeowner, to get that meeting, to get that listing, you have to do everything before that, which is what you just saw on the slide before. That becomes routine or not. but it should. You want it to be routine. You want to know that every day at 9 a.m., 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 2 p.m., you know exactly what you're doing. You memorize it, it's on your calendar, it's consistent. When you start doing that after a few months, it becomes a ritual. And if any of you played sports or other things in your life that are ritual and habitual, you almost start to like those rituals. You look forward to those rituals, and that's what will happen if you develop this structure. So you can't succeed by default. And we use an example there at the gym. If you go to the gym and you don't have a plan, and I see people at the gym, they walk into the gym. Anyone else go to the gym here? I know a few of you do.
Yeah, I
They
do.
walk into the gym and they just walk around and stand. And they're not focused. There's no tunnel vision towards, all right, I know I'm doing this muscle part, these exercises, and what are they doing? They don't even know. You don't want to be that person in the gym not knowing. Any questions? All right, cool.
Yeah.
So, what does your daily routine look like? So, one of the things we're really good at doing here, and we teach and show the value of this is having a morning routine before you even start working. So that's an example of Bill's calendar, I believe. So you can see, you can't see the hours, but he's blocked his calendar. All that green and blue in the top portion, the red and the that's all the morning rituals, morning activities. So he knows from 8 or so to the afternoon, 12, he's fully booked with the right activities, whether it's prospecting, whether it's educating, whether it's script writing, whatever it may be for him. You want to develop your morning routine. Like my morning routine is I wake up, I go running. Now that's from a mental state, right? Physical. But my morning routine here is we start at 8:45 and we have a ritual that we do for 15 minutes. And then people are on the phone and so forth. You want to build your calendar with the same thoughtfulness. Does that make sense for everyone?
Yeah, does.
All right.
All right, here's just
So
another example of a calendar. And so set up your non-negotiables on your calendar. Like, what are the things that are your 20%? Identifying that. So I know for me, and if you're a sales agent, it's generating new business. Like, if you don't have dedicated time to getting more business, you're not going to succeed. You're running a business by chance, right? You're going to sit by the phone and say, hey, I hope a friend calls me and wants to sell their house. And that's not scalable. So prospecting is like, and it can be even more purposeful. It's like, hey, calling for sale by owners, calling expired listings. Prospecting could also be joining a networking group like BNI or Latip. That's prospecting. You're sitting down with people and asking for them to refer you business. So you can't prospect for 8 hours a day. I guess if I had no business, I would prospect for 8 hours a day. But as a new agent, you should be doing training. There's different things in here, and there's so much as far as resources for training, lead gen. There's so much out there. It's hard to fall down that rabbit hole, or not to fall down that rabbit hole. But just building out that calendar, and obviously Kenny or myself can definitely help you with that. Weekends, what should you have in your calendar on every weekend? You should be doing one or two things.
I mean, I keep learning because there's a lot of things I still not comfortable doing, like just using the, Garden State MLS and Jane MLS, all this stuff, trying to be comfortable with, even though like I was not ready yesterday, I was doubting that I was able to unlock, to use the key. Nobody showed me, how to use the key, but to unlock and get the key out, and said, okay, let me go early there and, figure it out. and I went early try, but I still feel like, you know, there's a lot of learning still. You know, you feel you get your license, you are ready. There's a lot of learning.
There is. There definitely is, like using the E-key. But I would say the weekends, you should be doing open houses, right? Getting face to face with people. If you don't have open houses, it's good to ask people in your office, like, does anyone need an open house covered this week? Find open houses for sale by owners and say, look, I'm an agent. I'm willing to do an open house at your home. I will market it. I will do everything. If a buyer comes in who wants to buy your home, I'm going to help you do that. I'll pre-qualify them. You don't have to pay me anything. The other buyers, I could go and show them other houses. So open houses every weekend. I know agents who've done every weekend, they've done 2 open houses, like Saturday, Sunday, the first year, every single weekend for the whole year. Another thing you should be doing is touring property, right? Set up appointments just to learn the inventory. So on the weekends, I know most people have off on the weekends. Most people who are buying or selling a home are usually out and about looking at homes on the weekends.
So Bill, back up because I heard something that was new to me, and I'm learning also, Devin Saba. You mentioned for sale by owner and offering to do an open house for them, regardless of, and do it. Did I hear it right? And do it, without commission. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, so
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. I never heard that before.
Well, so to prospect, for sale by owners, and just say, listen, I usually have 5 to 10 active listings. I have none right now, and I love to do open houses. Is there any way I can do an open house at your home this weekend? You don't have to pay me to do it. I'll market it. I'll advertise. I'll make sure people are coming in the door. For the people who want to buy your home, I'll pre-qualify them with my lender. But the people who aren't interested in your home, I'd like to help them find another house. Right.
So that's amazing.
You
I
don't have
love
the
that.
inventory, it's a
Yeah.
good way to get it.
Now I can tell you that hasn't been discussed on our team. And I'm gonna be, I'm probably gonna be, I'm gonna be very honest. I only think there's a few types of people that will do that. Saba, you might be one of them. Devin, you might be one of them. I might be one of them, but yeah, I may not be. Think about it. Most agents don't want to work for free.
Yeah,
Most agents want quick wins.
yeah, but I'm gonna
Bill's
do
giving you an idea here, which is new to me even. It's not as the quick win is this. You're in someone's house, you're learning, you're practicing the open house, you're meeting potential buyers, and those potential buyers may not even buy that house. So you're building connections and relationships by leveraging someone's for sale by owner. If you're not fully booked agent, if your calendar is not fully booked with listings, and your non-negotiables, why wouldn't you do that other than something else is more important? And that's okay. But that's why checking your priorities and your values and your why, do I go and watch Netflix all weekend, or do I do an open house for FSBO and just leverage that as a learning process? I'm not saying either one's right. You just got to decide who you are. And certainly you don't have to do that every weekend. But maybe you put on your calendar. See, this is the point of a calendar. One weekend out of the month, I'm gonna focus on getting a FSBO open house. So now you're calling FSBOs instead of everyone calling FSBOs. I know you're for sale by owner. Whatever the script is, we have a good one, but whatever the script is, I know you're for sale by owner. Are you looking to, how's that going for you? You change the whole script. You're actually you're doing them a favor, asking, and it's a two-way, it's a win-win for everyone. I guarantee you can call 20 FSBOs. No one's gonna ever say they heard that before. So now they're not only gonna remember you, they may even say okay. And even if they don't say okay, they remember you. And you could then follow up with them and say in an email, how's it going with buyers? So you're building a connection that diffuses any resistance from them. I think it's great. Matter of fact, Bill, I think we should talk to our team about that.
Yeah, we used to do it at the beginning of January last year, and I think it just became too focused on getting the open house as opposed to getting the listing. So it became more of a distraction. And that was a
That's why
challenge.
that's why you do like one, you put on your calendar one a weekend, one a
Yeah.
month.
So
That's it.
here's some tips for you guys. If you do offer that, try to find homes that have been listed for less than 3 weeks. Because if they've been listed for more than 3 weeks, they become stale
Yeah.
and you're wasting your time at the open house. So the purpose of the open house is to get face to face with people. So any house has been listed for longer than 3 weeks, probably not a good place to do an open house. Right. So that's just a little,
Right. Like
uh,
we have resources to FISBOs. You're not gonna have, there's not 100 FISBOs in Monmouth County, I don't think, that
in New
are
Jersey,
right, that have only been on and on the market only 3 weeks. So it's gonna be a handful at best. So you call three that are like that, you get one showing, one open house, then you're done for the month with that tactic.
Nice. Yeah.
All right, that's good stuff, Bill. So listen, the secret to selling more homes is very simple. Bill says this all the time. You got to talk to more people. Now, you could talk to people 1,000 different ways, right? You can make calls, which is what this is about. But you could also go to network meetings. You could join BNI. You could talk to people at dinners and events. You could call your spheres. You can have your spheres talk for you. In some ways, that kind of counts. But the reality is that anyone that's starting this business, unless you have such a Rolodex of of high net worth people with homes that are constantly moving and selling, and they're in that world of movers and shakers in the real estate world, and they know so many people, which I don't think anyone, I don't know anyone like that. You got to get on the phones. So to keep it very simple, of course you got to deal with overcoming any fears of the phone being a monster. Of course you got to have some type of script or learn how to talk. But you also want to track your data. These are the metrics. So you got calls. You can make, I'm making up the number, 100 calls on a daily basis. All right, so you break that down. You say, you know what, 3-4 hours. Some of you it could be 5 hours when you start. I'm going to make 100 calls over 4 hours, or 5 hours. It's 20 calls an hour, very doable. And I'm going to have conversations. We average about 25% to 30% connections, which is conversations. So if Matteo on our team makes 100 calls today, he'll have 20 to 30 conversations. Out of those 30, if he's effective in how he talks, what he says, his tone, he's going to generate some leads. It might be 20% leads, might get 2-3 leads. Those leads aren't appointments yet, not all of them. Some of them are like, it's a lead that he has to now nurture over the next few weeks or months, usually. But out of those, he's going to get maybe 1 appointment, maybe 2. That becomes your conversion rates, right? You start to see, if I make 100 calls, I get this many conversations, I get this many leads, I get this many appointments. You're starting to figure out the science of the sale. Then you got how many listing or buyer appointments, and then how many contracts you are pending, and then how many you won. This is the business in a nutshell. All the other metrics out there are nice to haves. This is a must to have. Once you learn this and track it from day one, what's going to happen is you're going to wake up in the morning and you're going to know that, hey, if I make 100 calls, I'm going to yield this. This is the result. 100 calls, I'm going to get this. Now, you want to get more appointments? You could either make more calls or get better at having conversations, right? That's the only two ways. Make more calls or get better. I like to try to get as good as I can so that I don't have to always make 200 calls, 800 calls. So it's a balance. You got to find that sweet spot. So any questions on the simple like data and conversions?
All good. It makes sense.
Okay, and we'll send you the deck, and this is recorded again. I believe we're recording it, so you don't
Yeah.
have to memorize any of this.
Awesome.
For the assignment this week, I would like you guys to think about your calendar and think about how you want to block your days, Monday, 7 days a week. Obviously weekends, it's not going to be you're not going to necessarily be working all day. And what time blocks do you want to have on there for whatever? It's your business, but prospecting, whatever, learning, education, whatever. And put in there your non-negotiables, right? Like if you might have you might have 1 or 2 non-negotiables a day that are the same. You might have one on Wednesday, that's a non-negotiable, or one on Friday, totally different things. For example, our non-negotiable is 9 to 12, we're prospecting. It's non-negotiable. Now, if someone on our team makes an appointment between 9 and 12, okay. But you should still question that. It's like, listen, 9 to 12, this is what I'm doing. Because you got to set the boundaries also with buyers and say, I'm available these hours. So just think about your calendar next week. If you want to, share your calendar as a mock, or just share like a couple things that you added to your calendar that Saba, you're up and running already, but that you can, this is what I'm going to start doing. And then Devin, when you get your license, you're already ahead of the curve. You're not creating that calendar. Now, if you were with us, we would obviously help you do that. And you would have some time blocks based on the team environment that you may want to be part of. But right now, none of you are with us. I think Saba, you're with whoever, and Devin, you're not there yet. So does that sound like a great idea for you guys?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. And then next week will be our last session. We'll tie everything together, and it's not it won't be a goodbye by any means. But at least you'll have the building blocks and foundation, kind of taking everything into just 4 weeks of what has it been like 2.5, 3 hours? It's pretty good use of your
Yeah.
time. Like this should be a non-negotiable. It's a non-negotiable for me to show up, but it should be non-negotiable for you. It clearly wasn't for 6, 7, 8 other people. But think about that. Are they going to set non-negotiables in their business? I don't know.
So we
All
should
right.
make calls like would you prefer calling client or prospecting during the weekend or weekdays?
Yeah, that's a great question. Just because you're asking, that shows me you're being creative and open to what works best. I'm gonna let Bill handle that because he's definitely got more years of prospecting than me in this industry. You're on mute, Bill. Bill, you're on mute. He might be on. I don't know what he's on. So
Maybe he has a call or something.
maybe. So I'll do my best. There's times to prospect that are better than others, they say, but think about the time frame of homeowners. People are home early in the morning, getting their family ready. During the day, we also have cell phone numbers, so it doesn't really matter. So they're around, really all day. I like to think the hours of 8 to 11 are probably the ideal. We do 9 to 12. and 5:30, 6:30 in the evening, really before, before 8 o'clock. The weekends, of course, you can call weekends. Matter of fact, we have our reps come in on weekends sometimes and do prospecting. I would then do, I would do later in the morning, like 10, not 8, 9 in the morning.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So 10, 11 o'clock would be pretty ideal. So yeah, now here's the deal. You could say one weekend a month I'm gonna prospect. And that's
Yeah.
a non-negotiable. One weekend a month I'm gonna do an open house from a FSBO. So I'm gonna try to get that.
Yeah.
5 days a week I'm gonna prospect from 8:30 to 12 or whatever. Maybe it's 8:30, 12 Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then maybe it's 5 to 7 Tuesday and Thursday. There's no, it's your business. You can design it any way you want, but design it.
Yeah.
And you kind of like, all right, that's what I'm going to do. And now you're going to see you have a lot of white space, right? There's white space on this calendar in front of us. So what do I do with that white space? Well, one is you eventually don't have appointments, but you can fill that with, you don't have to work 20 hours, 50, 60
Yeah.
hours a week.
Yeah.
You could go to the gym, you could go take care of your kids, there's other things in life.
Yes.
But if
Yeah.
you have your calendar, like this calendar, you could see there's plenty of time to do other stuff.
Yeah.
But they're covered. They're covered.
That's awesome.
And you'll feel good, right? You'll feel good that you're sticking to a plan, because you're like, all right, I'm not working by default. There's a strategy here.
Yeah.
And the results will be the results. And obviously, if you're not getting where you want to be, then you work with a coach, you work with a mentor, you work with a team, and you find out where the gaps are.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, Jim.
Any